Good afternoon and welcome to this episode of One-on-One Sports. I'm Andrew Vandellis.
And I'm Matt Holzaffel. We have a lot of exciting news to cover, so let's jump right into the three strikes.
The Colts and the Browns are two teams near or in the bottom of the NFL barrel. The Colts might sink a bit deeper in, however, as Andrew Luck was finally placed on season-ending IR after many weeks of debate. For the Browns, Josh Gordon will finally be able to rejoin the team on November 27th after being suspended since December 2014, which could be a bit of good news for the team. So, Matt, which player do you think will have more of an impact when they return for their team?
I think it's Josh Gordon. And, when you look at the Browns, we talk about their problems, their quarterback issues, right? But their quarterbacks have no one to throw the ball to. So that's why they're struggling so much. The Browns' leading receiver is Duke Johnson, their backup running back, and his 324 yards is good for 67th in the NFL. So they're not even having a receiver leading their own team in yards, catches, or touchdowns. That's a problem. And so when a Pro Bowl presence like Josh Gordon, obviously not going to be in peak shape where he used to be when he comes back, though, he's going to be more of a reliable option, I think.
When you talk about Pro Bowl presence, we mentioned before that Josh Gordon only has one Pro Bowl under his belt. Andrew Luck, 3, the top pick in the draft in 2012, I believe. And Josh Gordon, I think, is going to make zero impact when he comes to Cleveland because Cleveland's still Cleveland.
I don't know about zero impact.
When Andrew Luck comes back, the Colts are a completely different team. They were a playoff caliber team before he got hurt. And Andrew Luck, in his full potential, is better than Josh Gordon will ever be.
If we talk about immediate impact, though, especially this season where Andrew Luck, not only is he gone, that's affecting the team, but he already didn't play this season. So the whole season is basically a lost one for the Colts, who are doomed to finish under 500. Whereas the Browns, we could see maybe
the Browns are going to finish over 500.
They're not. But maybe a small victory from winning a game led by a Josh Gordon-helped receiving core.
Well, yeah.
Dodgers manager Dave Roberts is being criticized for not starting ace Clayton Kershaw in Game 7 of the World Series. Kershaw still pitched in the game and threw 4 shutout innings on only 2 days rest after starter Yu Darvish gave up 5 runs. Andrew, should Roberts have started Clayton Kershaw in Game 7, and how much do you think teams should rely on their aces in the World Series?
They obviously can rely on aces in the World Series, but they absolutely shouldn't. You should never have to depend on one ace that much. Nevertheless, if you're a World Series caliber team, I think personally they'd made the right call by letting Darvish start and bringing Clayton Kershaw in as a reliever. It allowed him to get more rest, less pressure, and he did well.
Yeah, and I don't think a team who gets to the World Series gets there by solely relying on one pitcher to do most of the grunt work. Also, when you think about this, they traded for Darvish for this exact reason, so he can pitch in the World Series, so he can pitch in big games. They relied on him, which I think was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's more on Darvish than it is on Kershaw or Dave Roberts at all. And relying on one ace shows a lack of depth.
I think also the lack of offense hurt them at Game 7 because they lost 5-1. They only gave up 5 hits in that whole game. If they had scored 5 more runs and won 6-5, no one's talking about Kershaw not starting. No one's talking about Darvish's performance. So I think it was more of an offensive problem than not starting Kershaw.
Exactly, and when you're in the World Series, there's no time for that to show, or any weakness to show for that matter, but I don't think Kershaw was the problem.
And hindsight's 2020. Who are we to say now what happens if they start Kershaw?
Exactly. After one of the most exciting starts for a rookie quarterback in NFL history, Deshaun Watson is out for the season after tearing his ACL in practice last Thursday. He joins co-star J.J. Watt on the sidelines. We must now ask one question. Matt, are the Texans done, or do they still have a chance to redeem their season?
They're done.
Oh, yep, absolutely.
Just like Deshaun Watson, just like J.J. Watt. And it sucks because Deshaun Watson looks so promising. He had so many good games.
He was on pace for Rookie of the Year,
He played 6 full games, coming in, obviously, in the second half of their first game. He went 3-3, but when you look at their losses, 3 points to New England, 8 points to Kansas City, 3 to Seattle, all those games they scored over 30 points. So it wasn't an offensive problem when he was on the field. They were losing their games because of defense.
Yeah, you saw the offense, if anything, light up. I mean, you look at that Game 1. I mean, when Tom Savage is starting, when Deshaun Watson's starting, it's a completely different offense.
And you see the full story just by looking at, let's take Will Fuller, for example, some guy who, as a receiver for the Texans, had so much more production with Watson, as did the rest of the team, because whether it's Watson's ability to make plays happen where Savage can't do that as well. Watson ran for over 200 yards in those 6 games. So we just see someone who's more explosive, who really gave hope to this team who was kind of hopeless after starting the season with Tom Savage.
Exactly, and yeah, when you go from Deshaun Watson, one of the most promising rookie quarterbacks in the league, to Tom Savage, coming up, they have the Rams, Cardinals, Ravens, Niners, Jags, Steelers, and Colts. That's a good mix-up of teams. And with Deshaun Watson at the helm, that's a completely different rest of the season lying ahead. And when it comes to playoff hopes, those are just shattered.
And now maybe the guaranteed win is the Niners, but besides that, who knows how many
games
games
like
are
them
going to end
and
up
the
losing.
Colts, and that's it. And they even lost.
And you saw their offensive struggles this Sunday at Indianapolis. It's very evident already that they miss him. Before we go to break, we here at 101 Sports would like to take a brief moment of silence to honor former MLB pitcher Roy Halladay, who tragically passed away early this afternoon in a plane crash in the Gulf of Mexico. Halladay was an 8-time All-Star and 2-time Cy Young winner in a 16-year career with Toronto and Philadelphia. He was 40 years old.